I was 13 that summer, back in 2019, when my mom had to work a late shift at the hospital, leaving me in our quiet apartment on the edge of the city. It was one of those humid evenings where the air hung heavy, thick with the distant hum of traffic and the faint scent of rain that never quite fell. My cousin, Lena, who was 19 and crashing with us while she figured out college, was supposed to keep an eye on me. But she had other plans, a quick meet with her boyfriend, she said, swearing she'd be back before midnight. I didn't mind. It meant I could sprawl out in the living room, binge on snacks, and dive into that new thriller series everyone at school was whispering about. The freedom tasted sweet like stolen candy as I dimmed the lights and hit play, the screen's glow casting flickering shadows across the worn carpet and cluttered shelves. At first, it was thrilling. The show's plot twisted through dark alleys and whispered secrets, the kind that made my pulse quicken just enough to feel alive. But as the episodes rolled on, the apartment's own symphony started intruding, the groan of the old radiator pipes expanding in the heat, the occasional thud from the neighbors upstairs pacing like restless ghosts, the soft whine of the ceiling fan stirring the stale air. Every jump scare on screen sent a jolt through me, my eyes darting to the hallway that led to the bedrooms, half expecting a silhouette to materialize in the dimness. The popcorn grew cold in my lap, forgotten, as paranoia crept in, wrapping around my thoughts like vines. Why did the floor creak just then? Was that a shadow shifting under the door, or just the play of light from the TV? I tried shaking it off, pausing the show to grab a drink from the kitchen. The fluorescent bulb buzzed overhead, casting a harsh glare on the linoleum floor, sticky from earlier spills. As I sipped water, staring out the window at the parking lot bathed in sodium yellow streetlights, a faint scratching echoed from somewhere deeper in the apartment like nails dragging lightly across wood. My heart stuttered. It had to be the building settling, right? These places were old, full of quirks. But the sound persisted, irregular and deliberate, pulling me toward the back rooms despite the knot tightening in my stomach. I flicked on every light switch along the way, the sudden brightness doing little to chase away the chill prickling my skin. In my mom's room, everything looked normal at first, the bed neatly made, her perfume lingering faintly in the air like a ghost of her presence. But then I noticed it, a drawer in her knitstand slightly ajar, papers peeking out that hadn't been disturbed when she left. My breath caught. Had Lena rummaged through there before heading out, or... No, that was ridiculous. I was letting the show mess with my head. Shutting the drawer firmly, I retreated to my own room, barricading myself with pillows and firing up my laptop for some mindless gaming. The digital explosions and frantic keystrokes drowned out the unease for a while, the hours slipping away in a haze of virtual battles. Exhaustion finally tugged at me, and I powered down, curling under the covers as the fan's hum lulled me towards sleep. It started subtly, a soft thump from the living room, like something heavy shifting. My eyes snapped open in the dark, the room now pitch black except for the faint glow of my alarm clock showing 1:47 a.m. Lena should have been back by now. Holding my breath, I strained to listen, the sheets rustling too loudly against my skin. There it was again, a muffled footfall, slow and cautious, padding across the floor outside my door. The air felt thicker, charged with an electric tension that made the hairs on my arms stand up. Was it Lena, sneaking in quietly? But why not turn on a light? My mind raced, replaying every creak and whisper from earlier, piecing them into something sinister. I slid out of bed silently, my bare feet cold on the hardwood, and pressed my ear to the door. Nothing. Then, a faint click, the sound of a latch releasing, perhaps from the balcony door. Panic bloomed in my chest, hot and suffocating. I had no phone. Mom had taken mine away for the week as punishment for some forgotten infraction. The landline was in the kitchen, but that meant crossing the open space where whatever was lurking. Instead, I backed away, my gaze landing on the narrow vent grate high on the wall, an old air duct from when the building was remodeled. It was a stupid idea, born of desperation, but I dragged my desk chair over, climbed up, and pried the cover loose with trembling fingers. Squeezing into the tight, dusty space was agony, the metal edges scraping my elbows. The confined air thick with musty insulation, but I pulled the grate back into place from inside, huddling in the darkness, heart hammering against my ribs. Time stretched into an unbearable void. From my vantage, I could hear the intruder more clearly now. Drawers sliding open in the kitchen, the clink of utensils being sifted through, a low mutter that sounded almost like words, but too garbled to make out. The scent of sweat and something metallic drifted up, mingling with the duck's grime, turning my stomach. Who were they? A random thief spotting an easy mark in our dimly lit windows? Or worse, someone who knew we were vulnerable, who had watched Mom leave, seen Lena slip away? Every rustle amplified my terror, visions of discovery flashing through my mind, the grate yanked open, rough hands dragging me out into the unknown. It felt like eons before a new sound pierced the night, the jangle of keys at the front door, followed by Lena's voice calling my name, laced with irritation and fatigue. "Hey kiddo, you still up?" The intruder's movements halted abruptly, then frantic scrambling echoed footsteps retreating toward the balcony, a sliding door whooshing open and shut. I waited, frozen, until Lena's calls grew frantic, her steps pounding through the apartment. Only then did I push the grate free and tumble out, gasping, my voice hoarse as I blurted out the nightmare. We searched together, her face paling as we found the chaos. Cabinets rifled, Mom's jewelry box emptied, the balcony door unlatched from inside. It wasn't just theft. Personal photos had been strewn about, some torn, as if the violation was deliberate. Lena called the cops, her hands shaking as much as mine while we huddled on the couch, the sirens wailing closer like a belated lifeline. They dusted for prints, took statements, but the intruder had vanished into the night, leaving only questions and a lingering dread that seeped into every corner of our home. Mom rushed back at dawn, her exhaustion forgotten in a wave of fury and fear, grounding Lena for months and installing new locks that very day. But the real scars were invisible, the way I'd freeze at every unexplained noise, the nightmares of confined spaces and unseen eyes. Years later, the memory still claws at me, a reminder of how fragile safety can be, how quickly solitude turns to siege. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more vivid and terrifying stories.